Hello, is the meeting on today or not sure?
Ye- Yes, the meeting is today, every 2 weeks. Uh, but seems Dan William is not here today, so
Yeah, I just pinged him over the Slack. I mean, he works with NVIDIA, so I pinged him. Yeah, I didn't get any response. So yeah, yeah, I don't remember seeing anything, any mail saying meeting is on or if at all is it cancelled. Okay, let's probably we can wait few more minutes and see.
yeah,
I did have a topic I wanted to discuss. I was hoping Dan would be here for it, but there seems to be enough people here to probably have a discussion on it, even if Dan doesn't show.
Okay.
But yeah, we wait for Dan first. So I just checked Discord, and Dan did post in the DevSec Discord channel that he canceled the meeting tonight. So I don't know if you want to wait till next meeting to discuss the topic I want to discuss when Dan will be there, or just go ahead and discuss it now. Or I won't be back to work for another 2 weeks anyway, so I can get an answer in 2 weeks instead of now if everyone would rather have Dan here for the discussion.
I mean, it may be better to wait for Dan when you can make to the next meeting. I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on others. Like if they have subject matter expertise, it can be discussed, but I'm not. So I'll let
Yeah,
others. You know.
yeah, it's more of I kind of guess a user space question than a kernel question because um, we haven't really discussed what drives the whole flow when the device gets accepted. There was an earlier proposal for something called the Trusted Device Manager that I started implementing the specification that was put out by the confidential containers people, published that a long time ago. But we never really had an idea here of how the whole process of testing and accepting the device would get kicked off by user space, whether it's who's responsible for starting that whole flow. So it's less a kernel question, more a user space question. If anyone actually is developing something in parallel to what was originally published, the TDM specification, to actually start, detecting, attesting, and accepting devices.
So I think this is more of a user space question. Which
Yeah.
which user space daemon will start the actual binding and attestation and accept?
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
Yeah. Once I see some slides from Dan that he is he's putting some TSM daemons on guest side. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the TDM basically. But
okay.
I guess there's basically two ways to figure it out, right? Because the device gets probed but not bound. And then at that point, UDEV sends an event to UDEV-D in user space. And you have one of two options of how to handle this. One, you blacklist any attributes for TE devices and let the TDM or whatever secondary agent handle the entire flow from detecting the fact that it's a TE device by listening to the UDEV broadcast channel and scraping those ad events for that particular sysintS attribute. Or you write a rule that the UDEV daemon detects it, and then you need to have a helper application, kind of like how some of the network device, I forget which network device it is, but one of the classes of network devices, UDEV calls the helper application, which then triggers its daemon to do the final configuration of the device. So it could go either way. You could have UDEV call a helper application, which writes to a known socket for the trusted device manager, which would then get the request, gather the evidence for the device, and send to verifier, determine whether or not the device is acceptable and then accept it, or have the UDEV just completely ignore these devices altogether and have the TDM do everything, including the final binding of the driver too. That's an option. And those were the two ways that were kind of came to mind, and it's just what would be a better way of doing it, because I doubt everyone wants to write their own agent for accepting these devices. I don't know. Maybe people do want to write their own agents. Maybe they have their own custom stack for attestation that they want to deal with instead of because the proof of concept that I put together uses Verizon for either a local or remote verifier. It uses RADST for pulling evidence with a RADST plugin for using Dan's Netlink measurement interface. So, you know, I can imagine some people may have their own infrastructure they want to use for this, but it would be good to get feedback from people what they're thinking, what the user space for this looks like, because we have the kernel ABI looks pretty set at this point. Now it's time to decide who's going to be responsible in the user space for actually using these APIs.
Okay, that's the user space question. I don't have ideas. Does someone work on the TMS user space daemon now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't see any evidence of anyone working on something in this space when I started it 2 weeks ago. In the attestation, Computational Compute Consortium attestation meetings, this topic has never come up. Like TDIS is rarely the topic of discussion there. It's more like application layer attestation, stuff like that, using attested TLS and just basically more evidence standard discussion. Nothing from like what is Linux going to do standpoint. So I've yet to see anyone else talking about it, which is why I figured this would be a good forum, because we normally have Alexei from AMD. We have a large swath of people here from other companies who might have opinions on the topic, or might even be working on something in that space already. I'll bring it up with Dan next meeting.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll send him an email ahead of time and see if he wants to, if he knows of anyone who should be there for the meeting to discuss that kind of topic.
Okay, this could be the topic for next meeting. Now we have already started for 20 minutes. Is it time we complete this meeting?
Yeah, I'm just saying, Dan's not here. There's probably nothing else to discuss.
Okay, so let's finish it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.